Alright, boys and girls, so today we're going to try out the video sound, and I have to reverse it and get it so it doesn't read backwards, but let's get started. So we have 8 terms we're going to learn this week, okay? And they're terms you've seen already. So the first term is little n. And little n is the number of people in each group. So what's big N? So sometimes it's easier to start with what big N is. Big N is the total number of observances. So let's say I have a class and I have 25 kids in my class and I have 5 rows of 5 kids each. Okay? So I have 25 because I'm defining the space as the classroom. So my classroom is the space. So big N would be 25, but little n, how many people are in each group, would be 5. So this is the number in each group. Okay? And you might want to do that for a number of reasons. So I might want to subdivide groups because what if I think the kids that sit in the middle, they're my best students. So I want to test that hypothesis. So I give a test and I take the average in each row. Well, big N is 25, but the average of each row is 5. Okay? So little n, number in a group. Big N, total number of what you've defined. Okay? Another term that we've seen is X. X is just the score. Okay? So if I have 5 people in my row, the first person in the middle row, row 3, okay, their score was 96. Okay? That's X. Okay? Each individual is a sub-I. So instead of naming my scores, I give them a sub-number. Okay? So I might have X sub 1, sub 2, sub 3, but the letter that corresponds with that is I, individual score. Okay? So it's often written as X sub I. Okay? Now, the third thing that we need to know is that term that we're very familiar with. X with a line over it is the mean. Okay? Or the average. The average and the mean are a little different, but we're going to do them mathematically the same. Okay? So that the mean is equal to, okay, the sum of, oh wait, another term, okay, that's that sigma, and it reads sum of. The sum of. The sum of the scores divided by n. And we're going to use little n here, okay? So the mean is equal to the sum of everybody in row 3 divided by 5, in this case, little n, and then I'll know the average score for that row. Okay. Good? So far, so good? Okay. Now, another term that we saw the other day was the standard deviation. And the standard deviation is the, okay, and this is where you repeat every time I say it, is the average standard, average distance to the mean. Okay? And in order to get that, okay, S sub x is equal to, okay, the sum of the score, we're going to write sub I, okay, minus the mean, okay, and I'm going to divide that. I'm going to square it first, right? Because those negative numbers, they're bad news. And I'm going to divide this by little n. And because I squared it, you remember, I have to take the square root of it later. Just getting rid of the negatives. Okay? So the sum of the score minus the mean squared divided by n. So let's take my middle row again. Okay, so I've got my middle row, and the first person sitting in the row, they get a 96, but the mean is 85. Okay, so I take 96 minus 85, I square it, okay, and then I add it because I have to sum all of the people in that row, all 5. Okay, and then I add it, and then when I get done, I divide it by n and take the square root. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last thing is something we're going to cover at the end of this week, beginning of next week, is z-score. And this is the standard score. This is how to get something onto a normal curve, and that's our next step. So a z-score is simply the score minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. And that'll give us an idea of what percentage of people scored better than me, what percent scored worse than I did. So we always are looking for the z-score. How did I do in comparison to others? Okay, let's see if I can flip this and it turns out. I'll see you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I see you every day. Okay, see you later.